What's up, guys? Lord Sovereign here for PAX East 2023 for the Iron Lords podcast and lordsofgaming.net. I'm here with Matthew over at the Iterative Collective, and we're looking at Sigil of the Magi. So Matthew, tell us a little bit about what Sigil of the Magi is.
Well, if you're a gamer, you know Slay the Spire, you know Into the Breach.
Yes.
Sigil of the Magi is a cross between both of them.
Can you say that Into the Breach, sir?
Yes, Into the Breach.
Into the Breach is one of my favorite, absolute favorite turn-based roguelites.
Yep.
Let's talk about Sigil of the Magi.
So basically, Sigil of the Magi is a deck builder.
Yes.
You collect cards as you play, and each turn you get a hand of 5, 6 cards depending on what cards you have.
Okay.
And you can play them to control 3 units on the playing field.
Okay.
Which is a grid. Basically, you got cards like different attacks. The cards correspond to skills, power-ups, buffs, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yep.
So is it a huge grid or is it a smaller grid? Because when we look at something like Into the Breach, it's much smaller. And it's kind of a contained stage.
Small stages, you control 3 characters. You're usually up against maybe 3 to 5 other characters.
Okay.
And it's a roguelike, so you choose your own progression, what path you take. You could even stop at merchants or fireplaces where you could heal your characters.
And is it procedurally generated or everything?
Yeah, so the positions of the maps are procedurally generated, the type of playing field as well, it's procedural, and the enemies you face, the type of boss you face, those kind of things as well.
Okay, so story-wise, what are we talking about?
Story-wise, it's very, well, the story's thin. Okay. I'll be honest, the story's thin.
Okay.
But basically you're 3 adventurers trying to find this sigil which a wizard lost thousands of years ago, basically, hunting for hidden treasure.
So when you talk about turn-based, take me through an encounter. How many turns is it? One move per turn?
So
you have
3 moves per turn where you control the 3 characters.
Okay.
You can play as many cards as you have mana, basically like points.
Okay, so the mana determines the amount of cards you can throw down per move.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and movement, you can move the characters around in their movement area.
Okay.
And attacks to enemies in range. So positioning is also a big part of it.
Is there Overwatch? Do you have an overhead sort of looking downward position? There is.
Yes.
There is.
So you see the characters, you see the enemies. There's also information about what moves the enemies will make in the next turn, which characters they're targeting, stuff like that. So it's very deep tactical gameplay.
Okay, so let's talk about the gameplay a little bit.
Yeah.
Moment to moment, how are we engaging? You said you have the 3 characters, you have the 3 moves per characters.
So you're playing cards. So like, for example, if you have an archer, you're playing an attack card, long shots, for example, where you have to be a specific distance away from the character, from the enemy, and you have to position yourself far away enough to hit the enemy perfectly.
Okay.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about the engine. What is it built on?
It's built with GameMaker 2.
GameMaker 2, okay.
Not a very common engine these days.
Yes.
But it's GameMaker because it's all 2D.
Okay.
Developed by a solo developer, Yong.
Just Yong.
Just Yong, literally just him. Yep.
And tell us a little bit about when we can expect to see the game out.
So the game is already out in early access, so you can check it out today. It's on Steam, and we're planning on a full launch later this year, a 1.0 version.
Okay.
Right now there are 2 factions in the game, so there's 6 units that you can play. You can even mix them up, get units from each faction. But in the full launch, we're looking at 1 more faction, and there are 3 worlds for you to explore.
What about other platforms?
Platforms-wise, we're just looking at PC for the full launch, and only after that we will explore porting. I think it's a great game for the Nintendo Switch, for mobile platforms, and we're exploring that at the moment.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, Matthew. This is Matthew from the Iterative Collection. This is Sigil of the Magi. This is Lord Sovereign coming to you live from PAX East 2023 for the Iron Lords podcast and lordsofgaming.net.
Yep.